college, real estate, college, real estate, college, real estate. What choice should you be making? We're going to talk about that today. I got a degree because I think my entire life I had wanted one. I think my dad did a good job pounding into my head this idea that you need college to get where you wanted to go. And I started out wanting to be a doctor. I didn't know that I would have such a hard time with chemistry and with the sciences. And yet when I chose out of a path that no longer required a degree, there was a temptation to just not get one, especially when my business started thriving and growing. And yet I had my mother-in-law on this shoulder. That's the angel shoulder, I think, that we kept saying that education is important. You'll be so glad that you got a degree. And I think she was genuinely worried that I might not. So you know what? I was a people pleaser at that stage of my life, and I wanted my in-laws to be happy. And we were business partners on some of the real estate that we had done, like you've probably heard and learned about in some of my other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. And in the other videos, I talk about how important that key relationship was. It was the first of many relationships that launched me, and I wanted them happy, so I got my degree. But it was a stressful time in my life because I was building my business full-time, working full-time, and going to school full-time, plus I was married full-time. That makes sense. So it felt like a lot of full-time jobs, right? And yet I had a brother that after his first semester in college dropped out. And I listened to my brothers and my parents that were judging him. Nick, you need to go to college. Where are you going to get in life if you don't go to college? And he was dropping out for the same reason I could have. And I really respect my brother, who's become a very successful entrepreneur, business owner. I respect the fact that he thought that authenticity was more important than people pleasing. And it's taken him some really great places. So I'm not going to argue that you should drop out of college to do real estate. I didn't. And yet I think that there's a unique and individual path for each one of us. The education system that you and I grew up in, it's flawed. It's not what it was in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s that said you needed a college degree. Science still says that you'll earn twice as much money the more educated you are, and I'm all about education. In fact, Warren Buffett says that the more you learn, the more you earn. But what's more important than learning is from where. That's what's made all the difference in my life. So I feel like I've gotten two educations. The first education was what I got from college. And college taught me how to learn. It taught me how to research. It taught me how to go to school and how to elevate my own standards so that I would do things well. In fact, I would do things exceptionally well. But at the same time I was in college, I was getting a secondary education. And this was from the education of real life. This was from people living in the world that were succeeding. And I had mentors and people that they're not teaching me things that I could ever get in college. College won't teach you how to become financially independent, or it doesn't really even teach you how to run a business well. It can give you basics and give you some concepts and understanding. But being successful in life, changing your belief system to become the person that can allow anything to become possible, those simply weren't skills that were taught in college. And so there's two types of education. And today, if you want to go on to do real estate, I'm going to tell you right now, getting a college degree is more education and it's more learning. And I think there's deep value in that. But you're here today to figure out what your path is. And whether you do or do not go to college, there is an education that you need one way or the other. And that is the education of real estate, how to do it well. And there's two components of that. There's the how to do it, and then there's how to think successfully. How does a millionaire think? Because you're going to have to think that way before you actually make $1 million. And that's the education that I'm going to be talking to you about next. I don't advocate real estate as an all or nothing proposition. So I'm not promising that tomorrow you'll have a Ferrari. I think that real estate actually takes time. It can be get rich quick, but not in the way I've done it. Even retiring after 4.5 years was 4.5 years of really smart logical steps that I took to get where I got. And but do I think you can retire in 5 or 10 years? Absolutely. So even though it's not get rich quick, I think it's important to give yourself the time that you need. Finding mentors who showed me how they became multimillionaires was hands down the most important thing. And the ones that could give me a specific dialed in system is what made all the difference in the world. In fact, my entire first strategy with the lease option that I called compassionate financing that I did, I downloaded it from a series of my mentors and created a hybrid for the singular best approach to it. And the devil's in the details in real estate. So getting the contract law all figured out and all the little things, that's why I ended up putting together like even this introductory course on lease options that includes how to make the signs, how to have the walkthroughs, how do you have scripts for every conversation. And it doesn't take very long for me to teach you the system. I'm just passing on a system that I've improved upon, that I got from my mentors. And so that's probably the best advice that I can give you is learn specific action steps from mentors. I mean, even going back to the very beginning, first mentor I had told me to do 3 things when he knew the specifics of my financial situation. He told me how I needed to establish a 3rd line of credit because I only had 2, told me to wait a year and to save up $5,000, and told me I needed 2 years of work history when I only had 1. 14 months later, I was able to buy my house, and it was very specific knowledge that my mentor gave me. And so getting a specific blueprint and also having a specific mentor that can help you really is the game changer in you getting to where you need to go. I can't answer the question on whether you should drop out of college or not. I didn't. And even though I was tempted at times, I learned how to learn. I learned how to research. I had a really cool social experience. I had a time in my life to slow down. I ended up meeting my wife in a really, really amazing way. There's a lot of benefits to that. And at the exact same time, you've got to find out what your path is. Would I drop out of college just because of real estate? I wouldn't. My experience is that real estate takes time. And if you're doing it the right way, it's not a full-time job, which means you can do both. And I'm a proponent that you can have it all. So if both are important to you, for heaven's sakes, choose both. Whether you're in college or not, considering going back or went a long time ago or going back for more degrees, then I want you to go ahead and click the link below because I'm going to share with you how you get started in real estate right now. The really cool thing is that real estate done right doesn't take a whole lot of time. So you can have a career, you can be in college, you can work on your 9th degree, and you can still succeed massively in real estate. Click the link and I'll share with you your exact next steps.